Hello and welcome. I'm Antonina Antosh and you are watching Head to Head with UATV. Financial sector of Ukraine is slowly but surely is reviving after a serious fallback almost 4 years ago. And even though the changes are drastic, as some financial experts claim, there's always more that can be done to make things even better. To tell us all about the project called Transformation of the Financial Sector in Ukraine, we're joined in the studio today by Yuliya Vitka. She's the deputy head of the project. Hello and thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you for inviting.
So tell us more about the project.
The USAID Financial Sector Transformation Project is a 4-year project funded by the U.S. Agency for International Development with a budget around $24 million. So the project will expire in the end of 2020. Yeah. And by that time, we are supposed to effectively transform the Ukraine's financial sector.
In just 4 years?
Yes, in a couple of areas.
This is rather ambitious. I want to know how you plan to do that.
We try to focus our resources on certain most important areas. The first area is increasing the financial literacy of the Ukrainian population and financial consumer protection. Because as of now, there are almost no institutions, either governmental or non-governmental, that would protect ordinary citizens in their relations with financial institutions.
How do you plan to start protecting the ordinary citizens?
First of all, we conduct a lot of trainings around Ukraine, teaching people of their rights, of their duties.
Good, so you're educating.
Yes, we're educating. Second, we are developing new pieces of legislation that would empower the financial services regulators. These are the National Bank of Ukraine, the National Commission on Financial Services, and the National Commission on Securities Commission, to be able to protect consumers. Because as of now, they don't have the mandate or the instruments to react to consumer complaints, to really effectively resolve the disputes. And this draft law, 2456, is already in the parliament, and we hope it will be passed soon.
Okay. All right. What are the main goals of this project?
So apart from financial literacy and financial consumer protection, we want to develop also the financial market. We try to develop some instruments that are underdeveloped in Ukraine, unlike in EU countries or US. For example, leasing. Leasing can provide new financing opportunities, especially for small and medium enterprises in Ukraine.
Does the Ukrainian financial sector actually have a platform for developing what you're saying?
The Ukrainian financial sector has different platforms. They are not necessarily all united, but for example, there is the Reform Task Force at the National Bank of Ukraine, where we are the member, and they are the drivers of the reforms. So they set the plan for the reforms, and then they are supposed to be implemented. So leasing is an example. Or let's say the commodity exchange trading.
What is that?
For now, we don't have an exchange where the agricultural commodities, for example, or energy commodities could be traded in an efficient way, and where the price for that commodities would be disclosed and be transparent. With the development of such exchanges and such trading practices, farmers in Ukraine, which are small and medium, let's say, they would be able to come to such an exchange to see what the price for their produce is at the moment in correlation with the world prices, and be able to sell it.
Okay, and is that what the project presupposes, what you just said?
Yes, we conduct different kinds of researches. We draft legislation, we do some pilot projects, and actually we work with the market participants in Ukraine, with the existing exchanges, with the regulator, to make it happen. So it's
Any
not
particular research you would like to share with us today?
There are lots of researches.
Okay,
I've got
the one you're
here.
particularly proud of or interested in, or the results of which actually astounded you.
For example, the research, which is called Consumer Lending in Ukraine, the results of mystery shopping survey. So we train mystery shoppings that go around different bank branches in Ukraine and try to take a consumer loan and see if there are any violations in that process. And our mystery shopping survey revealed that there are really a lot of violations of legal provisions in Ukraine.
Bank, you mean, right?
Yes, by banks and other financial institutions. So we will have discussions around that. We encourage banks and financial institutions to change their practices because not only are they violating the law, but this decreases the trust of the population even further. So this is one of our recent surveys that we've conducted.
And what could be done to change the policy of banks to actually keep the procedure open and legal?
First of all, banks and financial institutions, they have to do something. They have to really bring their contracts, their information sheets that they are distributing, their advertising materials in compliance with the law. Second, they can unite and, for example, have some codes of conduct or ethical codes under their associations. We have some professional associations in Ukraine, and this work can be done under the umbrella of those associations. So codes of conduct or ethical codes. Third, they need to be punished if that happens, if that practice still continues.
By the government?
There are certain regulators. This is the National Bank, the National Commission on Financial Services. But for now, unfortunately, they lack a lot of powers to be able to impose penalties. That's why
we do need a change in the legislation.
We do need, and it's in the Rada, it's in our parliament, and it's pending. So all those pieces of legislation are already in the parliament. But unfortunately, there are a lot of delays with their consideration.
Okay, how do we financially educate ordinary Ukrainians? Do you have any ideas on that?
I not only have the ideas, but we actually do this work.
Great.
So in the past, we launched the a special school curriculum for the students of the 9th and 10th grades. And this curriculum, this subject called financial literacy, it's being taught right now under the umbrella of the Ministry of Education. So first,
in every school in Ukraine, or
it's an optional subject, so not in every school, but in many schools, in the majority of schools, yes.
Is it popular among kids?
It is popular. Moreover, when kids bring the materials home, their parents are also interested in this information, their parents or grandparents. So this is first, educating school children, because they are the future population.
Of course.
Second, it's educating adults, especially vulnerable people.
All right. I'm an adult. I have a child. She's small. She's only 4 years old, but eventually she will need financial literacy, right? I'm an adult. I am not financially educated. What do you do to educate me? I'm 33 years old.
This is a perfect situation for you to attend our financial literacy training for adults, which we conduct around Ukraine in different regions. There is the schedule and the contacts on our Facebook page, and these trainings are conducted by our partner Ukrainian Women's Fund. And the trainings are mainly for vulnerable population, but not only, so anyone can join, just call and register for such a training and get all necessary basic information, red flags, and even get some additional consultancy from the trainers of this program.
The partners you collaborate with, do they come only from Ukraine, or maybe you have some partners abroad, or maybe you've borrowed some experience from companies or people who have already launched similar projects?
Our main partners are local partners, just because we want also to develop local expertise. That's why we put a lot of attention to institutional capacity building in Ukraine. But the expertise that we bring to Ukraine it's of course based on best international practices, not only US practices, but also EU practices. What are these kinds of cooperation? We bring experts here, international experts that underwent the same programs, let's say, abroad. Or we have some study trips, study tours for Ukrainian government officials abroad. Or we, for example, serve as a liaison office between Ukrainian financial regulators and financial regulators elsewhere abroad.
Overall, would you say that the international partners and international financial experts are interested in Ukrainian financial sector?
Of course, they are interested. There is a very strong and united donor community here. But by donor community, I mean IMF, World Bank, EU project, and EU delegation in Ukraine, USAID. So we meet on a regular basis. We have the common agenda and common goals. And we would like Ukraine to move with financial sector reforms. Ukraine needs to move quicker, faster, and do better, because recently the reforms have been halted. So we really need to move faster to get some results.
Well, hopefully in the upcoming years, Ukraine moves faster, becomes better and stronger. Thank you so much for coming and sharing this information with us.
Thank you.
That was Yuliya Vitka. She is the Deputy Head of the Project Transformation of the Financial Sector. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned with UATV for more.